The encounter. The vast emptiness of space suddenly came alive with a shimmer of light as the Zarkonian exploration fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of an unremarkable solar system. Admiral Venkar, a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms and gleaming silver eyes, stood on the bridge of the flagship Celestial Seeker, his gaze fixed on the main view screen. "Report," Venkar commanded, his voice a low rumble that resonated through the ship's command center. Science Officer Lyrina, a slender figure with iridescent scales covering her body, moved her 6-fingered hands gracefully over the holographic interface. "Admiral, initial scans show 8 planets orbiting the yellow dwarf star. The 3rd planet from the star appears to be inhabited." Venkar's silver eyes narrowed with interest. "Inhabited? Show me." The view screen flickered, zooming in on a blue and green orb swathed in wispy white clouds. Lyrna continued her report. "The planet's atmosphere is primarily nitrogen and oxygen. Surface scans indicate vast bodies of water and multiple landmasses. And, sir, we're detecting artificial satellites and rudimentary space stations in low orbit." A low murmur of excitement rippled through the bridge crew. First contact was always a momentous occasion for the Zarkonian Empire, though they had long since grown accustomed to encountering species far less advanced than themselves. "Life signs?" Venkar inquired, his lower set of arms clasped behind his back while his upper pair gestured towards the screen. "Billions, sir," Lyrina replied, her voice tinged with surprise. "The dominant species appears to be bictal, carbon-based lifeforms. They've spread across most of the habitable landmasses." Venkar nodded, his expression thoughtful. "And their level of technological advancement?" Lyrina hesitated for a moment, double-checking her readings. "Primitive by our standards, Admiral. They've achieved basic spaceflight capabilities, but their technology seems to be primarily focused on their planetary environment. No signs of faster-than-light travel or advanced energy weapons." A small smile played across Venkar's lips. "Ah, another fledgling species. How quaint." He turned to his second-in-command, Sub-Admiral Krelter. "Prepare a first contact protocol. We'll observe them for a standard cycle before making our presence known." As the Zarkonian fleet took up positions around the outskirts of the solar system, they remained blissfully unaware that their arrival had not gone unnoticed. Deep within a secret underground facility on Earth, alarms blared as advanced sensor arrays detected the sudden appearance of the alien vessels. General Sarah Chen, head of Earth's Clandestine Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative, EDI, strode purposefully into the command center, her eyes scanning the holographic displays showing the alien fleet's position. "Status report," she barked, her voice calm but authoritative. Dr. Marcus Reeves, the lead scientist of EDI, looked up from his console, his face a mixture of excitement and concern. "General, our long-range sensors picked up a massive energy surge at the edge of the solar system. Moments later, we detected multiple large vessels entering the area. They're unlike anything we've ever seen before." Chen's eyes narrowed as she studied the holographic representation of the alien ships. "Have they made any aggressive moves?" "No, ma'am," replied Colonel Jack Harper, the facility's tactical officer. "They've spread out in a standard observation formation. It looks like they're settling in to watch us." A tense silence fell over the command center as the implications of this moment sank in. Humanity had long prepared for this day, but now that it had arrived, the weight of responsibility felt immense. General Chen took a deep breath, her mind racing through the countless scenarios they had war-gamed over the years. "All right, people, this is what we've trained for. Initiate Protocol Omega. I want all EDI facilities worldwide on high alert, but maintain normal operations on the surface. As far as these aliens are concerned, we're just another primitive species fumbling our way into space." As her team sprang into action, Chen couldn't help but feel a glimmer of pride. For decades, humanity had secretly prepared for this moment, all while maintaining a carefully crafted illusion of technological inferiority. Hidden beneath the surface of the Earth, and concealed on the far side of the moon were marvels of engineering and scientific breakthroughs that would shock even the most advanced civilizations. Back on the Zarkonian flagship, Admiral Venkar watched with mild amusement as the primitive satellites of the Earth continued their predictable orbits. These humans, he mused aloud, they remind me of the Krell theory when we first encountered them. So full of potential, yet so unaware of the vastness of the galaxy. Science officer Lorena approached, her datapad displaying a stream of information about Earth. Admiral, I've compiled an initial report on human civilization. They appear to be a fractious species, divided into numerous nation-states. Their history is marked by frequent conflicts, yet they've also shown remarkable resilience and adaptability. Venkar nodded, his forearms gesticulating as he spoke. A common trait among young species. They'll learn unity once they understand their place in the galactic community. He paused, considering his next move. Prepare a small scout ship. I want a closer look at their largest population centers. Ensure our cloaking technology is at full capacity. We wouldn't want to cause a panic among the natives. As the Zarkonians began their covert observations of Earth, they remained oblivious to the watchful eyes tracking their every move. In orbit around Jupiter, disguised as an unremarkable asteroid, a state-of-the-art human monitoring station kept a vigilant watch on the alien fleet. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez, the station's commanding officer, spoke in hushed tones to her team. Remember, people, absolute radio silence. As far as these aliens are concerned, we're nothing more than a chunk of rock. She turned to her sensor specialist. What's the status of the quantum entanglement communicator? Online and secure, Mom, the specialist replied. We can transmit to EDI headquarters without any risk of detection. Rodriguez nodded, her eyes never leaving the holographic display showing the alien scout ship's trajectory. Good. Keep a close eye on that scout. The moment it enters Earth's atmosphere, I want to know about it. As the hours ticked by, the tension on both sides continued to build. The Zarkonians, confident in their technological superiority, began to formulate plans for guiding this young species into the galactic fold. Little did they know that beneath the seemingly primitive exterior, humanity was poised to shatter their preconceptions. In the EDI facility, General Chen stood before a group of world leaders. Connected via secure quantum channels, her voice was steady as she addressed them. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've long anticipated has arrived. An alien civilization has entered our solar system, and they're watching us. The faces on the screens showed a mix of emotions: fear, excitement, determination. Chen continued, for now, they seem to view us as a primitive, non-threatening species. This gives us a crucial advantage. I propose we maintain this illusion for as long as possible while we complete the final preparations of our defense systems. The President of the United States, her face etched with the weight of the moment, spoke up. And if they decide to make contact before we're ready? Chen's expression remained resolute. Then we stick to the plan. We play the part of the awestruck primitive species, all while our real forces remain hidden and ready. The element of surprise may be our greatest weapon. As the leaders debated and plans were set in motion, humanity stood on the precipice of a new era. In the vast theater of space, a cosmic drama was unfolding, one that would challenge the Zarkonians' assumptions and showcase humanity's ingenious spirit. Admiral Venkar, blissfully unaware of the true nature of the species he was observing, gave the order for the scout ship to begin its approach to Earth. Remember, he instructed the scout team, observe only. We must gather as much information as possible before we initiate first contact. As the sleek Zarkonian vessel slipped into Earth's atmosphere, cloaked from all conventional methods of detection, both sides prepared for a confrontation that would shape the destiny of two civilizations. The Zarkonians, confident in their superiority, and humanity, armed with the power of deception and innovation, were on a collision course that would send shockwaves through the galaxy. The stage was set, the players were in position, and the greatest revelation in human history was about to unfold. As the alien scout ship descended towards the blue planet, neither the observers nor the observed fully grasped the magnitude of the events that were about to transpire. Events that would challenge the very notion of what it means to be an advanced civilization. The deception. As the Zarkonian scout ship glided silently through Earth's atmosphere, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to conventional detection methods, the crew marveled at the planet's beauty. Captain Zeckler, a seasoned explorer with scales that shimmered in hues of green and gold, stood at the helm, his 4 eyes taking in the panoramic view of the world below. "Truly remarkable," Zeckler murmured, his voice filled with genuine awe. "A world teeming with life, yet so unaware of the vastness that surrounds it." His second-in-command, Lieutenant Vixera, nodded in agreement. "It's hard to believe they've managed to achieve spaceflight with such primitive technology. Look at those fossil fuel-burning vehicles clogging their roadways." As the scout ship descended lower, skimming just above the clouds over a sprawling metropolis, the Zarkonians watched in fascination. Towering skyscrapers reached towards the sky, while networks of roads pulsed with the movement of millions of inhabitants going about their daily lives. "Begin atmospheric sampling," Zeckler ordered, "and prepare the stealth probes. I want detailed scans of their infrastructure, power systems, and communication networks." Unbeknownst to the alien observers, their every move was being meticulously tracked by Earth's hidden defenses. Deep within the EDI facility, General Chen and her team watched real-time holographic projections of the scout ship's flight path. "They're over New York City now," Colonel Harper reported, his fingers dancing over holographic controls. "Our quantum sensors are giving us a clear picture of their ship's capabilities. It's impressive, to say the least." Dr. Reeves leaned in, his eyes gleaming with scientific curiosity. "The energy readings from their propulsion system are off the charts. They're using some form of gravitational manipulation we've only theorized about." General Chen's expression remained neutral, but there was a glint of determination in her eyes. "And our countermeasures?" "Fully operational, Ma'am," Harper replied confidently. "Our nanofog is dispersed throughout the atmosphere. To their sensors, it'll just look like normal pollution. But if they try to deploy any probes—" Chen nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "They'll only see what we want them to see." As the Zarkonian scout ship continued its survey, launching nearly invisible probes into the city below, Earth's hidden defenses sprang into action. Microscopic machines, indistinguishable from dust particles, swarmed around the alien probes. These nanobots, a marvel of human engineering, began to subtly alter the data being collected. Back on the scout ship, Lieutenant Vixera frowned at her console. "Captain, I'm receiving some unusual readings from our probes." Zeckler moved to her side, his brow furrowing. "Explain." "Well, sir, according to these scans, the humans are still heavily reliant on outdated fission reactors for power generation. Their computer systems appear to be using silicon-based processors we consider ancient. And their weapons—" She paused, double-checking her readings. "They're still using chemical propellants and explosive warheads." Captain Zeckler's 4 eyes blinked in rapid succession, a sign of surprise among his species. "That can't be right. How could they have achieved spaceflight with such primitive technology?" As the Zarkonians grappled with the perplexing data, the true extent of human technological prowess remained hidden from view. Beneath the streets of New York, a vast network of advanced infrastructure hummed with power. Quantum computers, capable of calculations that would boggle even the Zarkonian minds, worked tirelessly to maintain the illusion of a less advanced civilization. In hidden facilities around the globe, humanity's real technological marvels stood ready. Antimatter reactors provided near-limitless clean energy, while gravity manipulation engines, not unlike those used by the Zarkonians, sat dormant in secret hangars. Weapons beyond the aliens' imagination were primed and waiting, their very existence concealed by layers of deception and misdirection. As the scout ship completed its initial survey of North America and began to move towards other continents, the EDI team watched with bated breath. General Chen turned to Dr. Reeves, her voice low. "How long do you think we can maintain this charade?" Reeves stroked his chin thoughtfully. "Hard to say. It depends on how thorough their investigation is. But our nanofog is programmed to adapt. The more they probe, the more convincing our illusion becomes." Meanwhile, high above the Earth, Admiral Venkar received the first reports from the scout ship. His initial amusement at the humans' perceived primitive state was slowly giving way to confusion. "This doesn't make sense," he muttered, pacing the bridge of the Celestial Seeker. "How could a species capable of reaching their moon still be using such archaic technology?" Science Officer Lirina offered a tentative explanation. "Perhaps they exhausted their resources in their early space endeavors. Admiral, it's not unheard of for young species to experience technological regression." Venkar nodded slowly, but doubt lingered in his silver eyes. "Perhaps, but something about this doesn't feel right. Prepare a more comprehensive scan of the planet. I want to know everything about these humans, their history, their conflicts, their potential." As the Zarkonian fleet mobilized for a more detailed investigation, humanity's deception entered a critical phase. In EDI facilities around the world, teams of scientists, engineers, and strategists worked tirelessly to maintain the illusion. Dr. Emma Larson, head of EDI's Xenobiology Division, addressed a group of world leaders via secure quantum link. "We've analyzed the biological samples the aliens have collected. Our nanofog has successfully altered their genetic scans to show a species far less advanced than we truly are." The Chinese premier's holographic image leaned forward, his expression a mixture of concern and curiosity. "And you're certain they cannot detect this deception?" Larson nodded confidently. "Our technology is beyond anything they seem to possess. To them, our nanomachines are indistinguishable from natural atmospheric particles." As the briefing continued, General Chen entered the room, her face grave. "We may have a problem," she announced, silencing the ongoing discussions. "Our deep space monitoring stations have detected a massive energy buildup in the Zarkonian fleet. They're preparing for something big." The room erupted into a flurry of concerned murmurs. The President of the United States raised her hand, calling for silence. "General, what are our options?" Chen's reply was measured, but there was an undercurrent of tension in her voice. "We have two choices. We can maintain our current strategy and hope our deceptions hold, or we can reveal ourselves and try to open a dialogue from a position of technological parity." The leaders debated fiercely, weighing the risks and potential outcomes of each approach. As the arguments raged, Dr. Reeves quietly approached General Chen, his tablet displaying a series of complex equations. "Sarah," he whispered, using her first name in the gravity of the moment, "I've been analyzing their energy readings. If I'm right, they're not preparing for an attack. They're getting ready to leave." Chen's eyes widened in surprise. "Leave? Why would they?" Reeves allowed himself a small, triumphant smile. "Because our deception worked almost too well. They think we're so primitive that we're not worth their time. They're preparing for a long-distance jump, probably to report back to their homeworld." For a moment, relief washed over Chen's features, but it was quickly replaced by a look of determination. "This could be our chance," she mused. "If we let them leave thinking we're harmless, we buy ourselves more time to prepare." As the world leaders continued their heated debate, Chen stepped forward, her presence commanding immediate attention. "Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have an unprecedented opportunity before us. The Zarkonians are preparing to leave, convinced of our technological inferiority. I propose we let them go, maintaining our deception until the last possible moment." The room fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. The British Prime Minister was the first to speak. "And what happens when they eventually return, General? Surely they won't leave us alone forever." Chen's reply was filled with conviction. "By then, we'll be more than ready. Our hidden technologies are advancing every day. When they return, expecting to find a primitive world ripe for conquest or guidance, they'll instead face a humanity united and prepared. As the leaders deliberated, the Zarkonian fleet above Earth began its preparations for departure. Admiral Venkar stood on the bridge of the Celestial Seeker, watching the blue planet rotate slowly on the main view screen. "It's a pity," he said to no one in particular. "They have such potential, yet they're centuries away from being ready to join the galactic community." Science Officer Lorena approached, her datapad clutched in her lower set of hands. "Shall I prepare the standard monitoring buoys, Admiral? We could leave them in the outer system to track the humans' progress." Venkar considered for a moment before shaking his head. "No, I don't think that will be necessary. At their current rate of advancement, it will be generations before they pose any interest or threat to the Empire. We'll make a note in the galactic archives and check back in a few centuries." As the Zarkonian ships began to power up their long-range drives, creating spectacular auroras in Earth's upper atmosphere, humanity held its collective breath. In the EDI command center, General Chen watched the energy readings spike on the holographic displays. "Steady," she murmured, as much to herself as to her team. "Just a little longer." With a flash of light that momentarily outshone the sun, the Zarkonian fleet vanished into hyperspace, leaving behind a world they believed to be primitive and unprepared for the realities of the cosmos. As cheers erupted in EDI facilities around the globe, General Chen allowed herself a moment of victory. But even as humanity celebrated this first, crucial deception, she knew that the real work was just beginning. "All right, people," she called out, her voice cutting through the jubilation. "We've bought ourselves some time, but we can't afford to waste it. I want every piece of data we collected on their ships analyzed. We need to be ready for when they return." As the Earth continued its quiet revolution around the sun, its inhabitants began to prepare in earnest for the day when they would truly reveal themselves to the galaxy. The Zarkonians had unwittingly awakened a sleeping giant, and when they returned, they would find not the primitive world they expected, but a humanity ready to take its place among the stars. The revelation. 5 years had passed since the Zarkonian fleet's departure from Earth. In that time, humanity had made incredible strides, fueled by the knowledge that they were not alone in the universe and the determination to be ready for the aliens' inevitable return. In a secret facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Sarah Chen stood before a holographic display of the solar system. Pulsing dots represented the network of advanced early warning satellites that now ringed not just Earth, but the entire system. Her salt and pepper hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and the lines around her eyes spoke of years of relentless preparation. "Status report," she commanded, her voice echoing through the cavernous command center. Colonel Jack Harper, now sporting a few more gray hairs himself, stepped forward. "All systems are green, General. Our Dyson swarm around Mercury is operating at 98% efficiency, providing more than enough power for our entire defense grid. The Mars colonies are fully self-sufficient, and the Jupiter shipyards are ahead of schedule." Dr. Marcus Reeves, his beard now fully white, added, "Our latest breakthroughs in quantum entanglement have pushed our FTL communications to near-instantaneous speeds across the entire system. We'll know the moment anything larger than a pebble enters our space." Chen nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Excellent. And Project Phoenix?" A new voice answered, belonging to Dr. Aisha Patel, the lead engineer of humanity's most ambitious undertaking. "The first prototype is ready for its maiden voyage, General. If you'd like to observe, we're scheduled to begin in 1 hour." Chen's eyes lit up with anticipation. "I wouldn't miss it for the world." As they made their way to the testing facility, alarms suddenly blared throughout the complex. Harper's wrist-mounted holodisplay sprang to life, showing a rapidly approaching energy signature at the edge of the solar system. "General," he said, his voice tense, "long-range sensors have detected a massive hyperspace window opening near Pluto's orbit. Energy signatures match Zarkonian technology, but it's much larger than before. Chen's expression hardened. Looks like our old friends have decided to pay us another visit. Initiate Protocol Omega. I want all EDI facilities worldwide at maximum alert, but maintain surface normalcy. Let's see what they're up to before we show our hand. As the human defense forces sprang into action with well-rehearsed precision, the Zarkonian fleet dropped out of hyperspace in a dazzling display of light and energy. The fleet that arrived dwarfed their previous expedition, with massive battleships and carriers flanking an enormous flagship that seemed to dwarf even gas giants. On the bridge of the new flagship, christened the Imperial Verdict, Admiral Venkar stood tall, his silver eyes gleaming with anticipation. The years had added gravitas to his bearing, and the numerous medals adorning his uniform spoke of his rising status within the Empire. "Report," he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of unquestioned authority. Science Officer Lurina, now promoted to senior researcher, approached with a datapad. "Scans confirm this is the human homeworld, Admiral. Initial readings show minimal advancement since our last visit. Their satellite network has expanded, but the technology remains primitive by our standards." Venkar's expression was a mixture of disappointment and resolve. As expected, it seems the Empire's decision to return was premature, but orders are orders. He turned to his tactical officer. "Prepare the pacification fleet. We'll begin with a show of force over their largest population centers. Let's see how these humans react to real power." As the Zarkonian fleet began to move into position, humanity's hidden defenses tracked their every move. In the EDI command center, General Chen watched the holographic display with steely determination. "They're not here for friendly first contact this time," she observed grimly. "Colonel Harper, what's the status of our orbital platforms?" Harper's fingers danced over his console. "All weapon systems are armed and ready, General. Stealth fields are holding. The Zarkonians still have no idea what's waiting for them." Chen nodded, her mind racing through countless scenarios they had wargamed over the years. "Dr. Reeves, is Project Phoenix ready for deployment?" Reeves exchanged a glance with Dr. Patel before answering. "It is, General, but we haven't had a chance to test it in actual combat conditions. The risks are worth taking." Chen finished for him. "We may not get a better opportunity than this. Prepare for launch." As the Zarkonian fleet entered Earth's upper atmosphere, their massive ships cast ominous shadows over the cities below. Citizens looked up in awe and fear, many remembering the brief visit from 5 years ago. But this time, the aliens' intentions seemed far from peaceful. Admiral Venkar's voice boomed across every communication channel on the planet, translated into all major human languages. "People of Earth, I am Admiral Venkar of the Zarkonian Empire. Your world now falls under our protection and guidance. Resistance is futile and unnecessary. Embrace your new role in the galactic community, and prosperity will follow." As panicked reports flooded in from around the globe, world leaders scrambled to respond. But in the EDI facility, General Chen remained calm. She opened a secure channel to all EDI operatives worldwide. "This is General Chen. The moment we've prepared for has arrived. Initiate Operation Unveiling. Let's show our visitors what humanity is really capable of." Across the planet, hidden installations hummed to life. Massive hangar doors disguised as mountain ranges slid open, revealing sleek spacecraft that defied conventional design. From the oceans, enormous vessels rose from the depths, water cascading off their advanced metamaterials that had kept them hidden from even the most advanced alien sensors. In New York, as citizens gazed up at the looming Zarkonian ships, the Statue of Liberty suddenly shimmered and disappeared, revealing a colossal defense platform bristling with weaponry that made the alien vessels look primitive by comparison. Admiral Venkar stared in disbelief at his tactical display as thousands of new contacts suddenly appeared, surrounding his fleet. "Impossible," he breathed. "Where did they come from? How did we not detect them?" Before he could issue orders, a new voice crackled over the communication channels. General Chen's voice, calm and resolute. "Admiral Venkar, this is General Sarah Chen of Earth's Extraterrestrial Defense Initiative. I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding. Earth is not in need of your protection or guidance. We are, however, open to peaceful dialogue between equals." As if to emphasize her point, a massive ship suddenly appeared between the Zarkonian fleet and Earth. It was Project Phoenix, a vessel that combined the best of human innovation with reverse-engineered alien technology. Its sleek, organic lines seemed to defy physics, and the energy readings it emitted surpassed even those of the Imperial verdict. Venkar's tactical officer, his voice shaking, reported, "Admiral, we're detecting energy buildups all around us. They're weapons. They're like nothing we've ever encountered. Our shields wouldn't stand a chance." For the first time in his long career, Admiral Venkar felt true fear. The primitive species they had dismissed just 5 years ago now held them at their mercy with technology that shouldn't have been possible. "How?" he demanded, addressing General Chen directly. "How did you advance so quickly?" Chen's reply was tinged with a hint of smugness. "We didn't, Admiral. We've had these capabilities for decades. Your previous visit merely encouraged us to accelerate our plans." As the full impact of humanity's deception sank in, Venkar realized the grave mistake the Empire had made. They had unknowingly awakened a sleeping giant, one that had been preparing for this moment for far longer than anyone could have imagined. "Perhaps," Venkar said carefully, "we should discuss this situation in a more diplomatic setting." Chen's response was immediate. "I couldn't agree more, Admiral. We'll transmit coordinates for a neutral meeting ground. I suggest you order your fleet to stand down in the meantime." As the Zarkonian ships began to pull back, surrounded on all sides by Earth's previously hidden fleet, the true scale of humanity's achievement became clear. The planet below was transforming before the aliens' eyes. Cloaking fields dropped, revealing glittering cities that put the Zarkonians' most advanced worlds to shame. Massive space elevators stretched from the surface towards orbital stations that served as a testament to human engineering prowess. In the EDI command center, cheers erupted as the Zarkonian fleet retreated to a safe distance. General Chen allowed herself a small smile before turning to her team. "Well done, everyone. But this is just the beginning. Now comes the real challenge. Forging a future where humanity stands as equals in a galaxy that had written us off." Dr. Reeves approached, his eyes twinkling with excitement. "You know, Sarah, I almost feel bad for the Zarkonians. Can you imagine the reports they'll have to send back to their empire?" Chen chuckled. "I have a feeling the galaxy is in for quite a shock. But first things first, we need to prepare for these negotiations. Something tells me the Zarkonians aren't used to being on the back foot." As Earth celebrated its emergence onto the galactic stage, the Zarkonian fleet hovered at the edge of the solar system, its commanders struggling to come to terms with the new reality they faced. Admiral Venkar stared out at the blue planet, now surrounded by a web of advanced technology that rivaled or surpassed anything in the Empire's arsenal. "Send word to the Imperial capital," he said quietly to his communications officer. "Inform them that the situation on Earth is not as we expected. Advise them to prepare for significant diplomatic engagement." As the message was transmitted across the vast distances of space, Venkar couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter with humanity would change not just the Zarkonian Empire, but the entire galactic order. The humans, with their ingenuity and their capacity for deception, had proven themselves to be unlike any species the Zarkonians had encountered before. The stage was set for a new chapter in galactic history, one where humanity would play a far larger role than anyone, alien or human, could have anticipated just days before. As both sides prepared for the upcoming negotiations, the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see what this revelation would mean for the future of the cosmos. The battle. The tension in Earth's orbit was palpable as the Zarkonian fleet and humanity's newly revealed armada faced each other in an uneasy standoff. Despite the initial shock of Earth's technological reveal, Admiral Venkar had regrouped his forces, his pride and duty to the Empire overriding his earlier moment of fear. On the bridge of the Imperial verdict, Venkar paced restlessly. "Have they responded to our demands?" he asked his communications officer. "Negative, Admiral," came the reply. "The humans are insisting on negotiations as equals. They refuse to acknowledge the Empire's authority." Venkar's silver eyes narrowed. "Then they leave us no choice. Prepare the fleet for combat operations. We'll show these upstart humans the true might of the Zarkonian Empire." As the alien ships began to move into attack formation, alarms blared throughout Earth's defense network. In the EDI command center, General Chen's voice cut through the chaos. "Battle stations, everyone. Looks like the Zarkonians want to do this the hard way." Colonel Harper's hands flew over his holographic interface. "General, the enemy fleet is spreading out, trying to envelop our forces. Their energy readings are spiking. They're charging weapons." Chen's expression hardened. "Deploy the Aegis shield. All ships, prepare to engage, but do not fire unless fired upon. Let's give them one last chance to reconsider." As she spoke, a shimmering energy field began to coalesce around the Earth, extending out to encompass the Moon. The Aegis shield, a planet-wide defense system powered by the Dyson swarm around Mercury, was humanity's ultimate protective measure. Admiral Venkar watched in disbelief as the energy readings from the shield surpassed anything his sensors could quantify. "Impossible," he muttered. Then, louder, "All ships, open fire. Break through that shield." The space around Earth erupted in a dazzling display of destructive energy as the Zarkonian fleet unleashed its full arsenal. Beams of searing plasma and antimatter torpedoes streaked towards the planet, only to dissipate harmlessly against the Aegis shield. In the EDI command center, Dr. Reeves monitored the shield's performance. "Incredible," he breathed. "The shield is not just blocking their attacks, it's absorbing the energy and redirecting it to strengthen itself. The more they hit us, the stronger we become." General Chen allowed herself a small smile before turning to her tactical officer. "Colonel Harper, the Zarkonians have made their choice. You have permission to return fire. Let's show them what we can do." With that order, Earth's fleet sprang into action. Ships that had remained dormant now came alive, their designs a perfect blend of elegance and lethality. From the massive dreadnought, humanity's hope, to swarms of AI-controlled fighter craft, no larger than cars, the human armada moved with a synchronicity that spoke of years of preparation and advanced battle networks. The first wave of human attacks caught the Zarkonians completely off guard. Quantum-entangled missiles phased through their shields as if they weren't there, detonating with pinpoint precision. Graviton beams warped space-time around enemy vessels, crushing some and tearing others apart. On the Imperial verdict, alarms blared as ship after ship reported catastrophic damage. "How is this possible?" Venkar roared, gripping his command chair as the flagship shuddered under a barrage of attacks. "Their weapons, they're beyond anything we've ever encountered." Science Officer Lyrina, her voice shaking, responded, "Admiral, they're not just matching our technology. They're surpassing it. These humans, they've been preparing for this moment for far longer than we realized." As the battle raged, the true extent of humanity's preparedness became clear. From hidden bases on Mars, squadrons of advanced fighters emerged, outmaneuvering the larger Zarkonian ships with ease. The moons of Jupiter revealed themselves to be massive shipyards, launching wave after wave of reinforcements. But it was the appearance of Project Phoenix that truly turned the tide of the battle. The massive ship, piloted by Dr. Aisha Patel herself, moved through space with an agility that defied its size. Its weapons were beyond anything even the humans had revealed so far, beams of concentrated dark energy that simply erased portions of Zarkonian ships from existence, and gravity wells that crushed entire battle groups into singularities. "This is Dr. Patul on the Phoenix." Her voice came through the EDI command channel. "General, we're detecting a massive energy buildup in the enemy flagship. They appear to be preparing some sort of last-ditch weapon." General Chen's eyes narrowed. "Can you intercept?" "Affirmative," Patel replied. "Moving to engage now." The Phoenix accelerated towards the Imperial verdict, effortlessly evading the desperate fire from the remaining Zarkonian ships. Admiral Venkar watched its approach with a mixture of awe and terror. "Divert all power to the Nova cannon," he ordered, his voice hoarse. "If we're going down, we'll take their best ship with us." As the Imperial verdict's superweapon charged, creating a blinding sphere of energy at its bow, the Phoenix suddenly vanished from all sensors. For a moment, the space around the Zarkonian flagship was empty. Then, in a maneuver that seemed to defy the laws of physics, the Phoenix reappeared inside the Imperial verdict's shields, its hull practically touching the alien vessel. Dr. Patel's voice was calm as she gave her final warning. "Admiral Venkar, power down your weapons and surrender. This is your last chance." For a moment, it seemed as though Venkar would give the order to fire, to go down in a blaze of glory for the Empire. But as he looked around at his battered bridge, at the faces of his crew who had trusted him with their lives, he felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily upon him. "Stand down," he said quietly, then louder. "All ships, cease fire, and stand down. Open a channel to the human commander." As the sounds of battle faded, General Chen's voice came through clear on the Imperial verdict speakers. "Admiral Venkar, are you prepared to surrender?" Venkar closed his eyes briefly, then straightened his posture. "General Chen, on behalf of the Zarkonian fleet, I offer our unconditional surrender. We underestimated you, and we have paid the price for our arrogance." A collective sigh of relief echoed through the EDI command center. General Chen allowed herself a moment to appreciate the magnitude of what they had accomplished before responding. "Your surrender is accepted, Admiral. Prepare to receive boarding parties. We have much to discuss about the future of our species relationship." As the human ships moved in to secure the Zarkonian vessels, the full impact of the battle began to sink in for both sides. The humans had not just defended their world. They had decisively defeated one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. The repercussions of this victory would echo across the cosmos for generations to come. In the aftermath of the battle, as debris from destroyed ships was carefully collected and wounded from both sides were tended to, General Chen found a quiet moment to address her team. "What we've accomplished here today goes beyond just protecting Earth," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "We've announced humanity's presence on the galactic stage in a way that cannot be ignored. But with this victory comes great responsibility. How we handle the aftermath, how we treat our defeated foes, this will define us in the eyes of the galaxy." Dr. Reeves nodded solemnly. "We've spent so long preparing for this moment, focusing on the technology and the tactics. Now comes the real challenge. Diplomacy, cultural exchange, finding our place in a much larger community." As if on cue, Colonel Harper approached with a holographic display. "General, we're receiving transmissions from all over the galaxy. It seems news of our victory is spreading fast. We're getting everything from congratulations to declarations of war, and a whole lot of confused requests for clarification in between." Chen couldn't help but chuckle. "Well, I suppose the cat's out of the bag now. Prepare a general response. Let the galaxy know that Earth is open for peaceful dialogue, but that we will not hesitate to defend ourselves if threatened." As the EDI team began the monumental task of managing Earth's sudden emergence onto the galactic political scene, aboard the captured Imperial verdict, a different kind of exchange was taking place. Admiral Venkar, now a prisoner of war, sat across from General Chen in what had been his private quarters. The Zarkonian looked aged beyond his years, the weight of defeat evident in his slumped shoulders. "I don't understand," he said quietly. "How did you advance so quickly? How did you hide all of this from us?" Chen leaned forward, her eyes meeting Venkar's. "Admiral, what you're failing to grasp is that we didn't advance quickly. We've been at this level of technology for decades. Your first visit merely confirmed what we had long suspected, that we were not alone in the universe." Venkar's eyes widened as the implications sank in. "But why the deception? Why not reveal yourselves from the beginning?" "Because, Admiral," Chen replied, a hint of steel in her voice, "your empire's history of guiding younger species is well known to us. We needed to be sure we could stand as equals, or more than equals, if necessary, before revealing our true capabilities." As Venkar processed this information, Chen continued, "Now, we find ourselves at a crossroads. Your empire has seen what we're capable of. The question is, where do we go from here?" The Zarkonian admiral was quiet for a long moment before responding. "I've served the empire my entire life, believing in our mission to bring order and progress to the galaxy. But today you've shown me that perhaps there is more than one path to advancement." Chen nodded, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "Then perhaps, Admiral, this defeat can be the beginning of something greater. A new era of cooperation and mutual respect, not just between our species, but for all sentient life in the galaxy." As their discussion continued, laying the groundwork for what would become historic negotiations, the stars outside seemed to shine a little brighter. The battle was over, but the true challenge, forging a new future for humanity and its place in the cosmic community, was just beginning. The aftermath. In the months following the historic battle between Earth and the Zarkonian Empire, the galaxy found itself in a state of unprecedented flux. News of humanity's stunning victory over one of the most powerful forces in known space spread like wildfire, igniting a mixture of fear, admiration, and curiosity across countless worlds. On Earth, the mood was one of cautious celebration, tinged with the weight of new responsibilities. The planet had transformed almost overnight from a seemingly insignificant backwater to a major player on the galactic stage. In the Grand Plaza before the United Nations headquarters in New York, now dwarfed by gleaming towers of advanced alloys and quantum glass, representatives from every nation on Earth gathered for a momentous occasion. General Sarah Chen, dressed in a formal military uniform adorned with newly minted medals, stood at the podium. Her voice, amplified by hidden technology, carried easily across the vast crowd and to billions watching worldwide. "People of Earth," she began, her tone solemn yet tinged with pride. "For decades, we worked in secret, preparing for the day when we would take our place among the stars. That day has come, perhaps sooner and more dramatically than any of us anticipated. We stand now at the threshold of a new era, not just for humanity, but for all sentient life in our galaxy." As Chen spoke, holographic displays above the crowd showed scenes from across the solar system. The terraforming of Mars was proceeding at an astonishing pace, with great domes already covering vast swaths of the red planet. The moons of Jupiter bustled with activity, shipyards and research stations expanding rapidly. Even the swirling clouds of Venus parted occasionally to reveal the first floating cities, a testament to human ingenuity and ambition. "Our victory over the Zarkonian Empire," Chen continued, "was not just a triumph of technology, but a vindication of the human spirit. Our capacity for innovation, our adaptability, and our unwavering determination in the face of overwhelming odds. These are the qualities that will define us as we step onto the galactic stage." The crowd erupted in cheers, a cathartic release after years of tension and secrecy. As the applause died down, Chen's expression grew more serious. "But with this triumph comes great responsibility. We have revealed ourselves to be a force to be reckoned with, and now all eyes are upon us. How we conduct ourselves in these coming years will determine not just our fate, but potentially the fate of countless other species." She gestured to her right, where Admiral Venkar stood, still coming to terms with his new role as a liaison between Earth and the Zarkonian Empire. The former enemies now stood side by side, a powerful symbol of the changes sweeping the galaxy. "We extend an open hand to all peaceful species," Chen declared. "Let our emergence be not a source of fear, but an opportunity for collaboration, for the exchange of knowledge and culture. Together, we can build a galaxy that thrives on diversity and mutual respect, rather than conquest and subjugation." As Chen's speech concluded, the plaza erupted once more in applause. But even as humanity celebrated its new place in the cosmos, in distant corners of the galaxy, other forces were stirring. On the Zarkonian homeworld of Zarkon Prime, the Imperial Palace was in turmoil. Emperor Xelvaxis, his iridescent scales dulled with stress, sat upon his crystalline throne, surrounded by holographic displays showing the aftermath of the battle with Earth. "How could this happen?" he demanded, his voice echoing through the cavernous chamber. "How could a species we dismissed as primitive 5 years ago defeat our most powerful fleet?" High Counselor Tazreen, her tendrils writhing with agitation, stepped forward. "Your Majesty, it appears the humans have been deceiving not just us, but the entire galaxy for decades. Their technological capabilities far exceed our initial estimates." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "And what of Admiral Venkar? Has he truly turned traitor, or is he being coerced?" Tazreen hesitated before responding. "Our intelligence suggests his cooperation is voluntary, Your Majesty. He speaks of the humans with a mix of admiration and caution. He advises against further military action." His Elvaxes let out a low hiss of frustration. "So, we have not only been defeated but humiliated. Our most decorated admiral now counsels peace with these upstarts." He rose from his throne, pacing the dais. "What are our options?" A new voice entered the conversation, that of Zarvox, the Emperor's chief scientist. "Your Majesty, if I may, perhaps we should view this as an opportunity rather than a setback." All eyes turned to Zarvox as he continued. "The humans have demonstrated technological capabilities that, in some areas, surpass our own. If we could forge an alliance, think of what we could learn, how we could advance." The Emperor considered this for a long moment. "An alliance? With a species that has just bloodied our nose? The other powers in the galaxy would see it as a sign of weakness." Tazreen interjected. "Or they might see it as wisdom, Your Majesty. The humans have made it clear they're open to peaceful cooperation. By extending an olive branch, we could position ourselves as their entry point into galactic politics. We could guide them, learn from them, and in doing so, perhaps reshape the balance of power in our favor." As the Zarkonian leadership debated their next move, similar discussions were taking place in council chambers and throne rooms across the galaxy. The sudden emergence of humanity as a major power had sent shockwaves through established alliances and age-old rivalries. In the twilight forests of Alexandri, homeworld of the reclusive Alari, the elders gathered in their sacred grove. Their bioluminescent skin pulsed with a mixture of excitement and trepidation as they discussed the news from Earth. Elder Xilla, her voice like wind through leaves, spoke softly. "For millennia, we have watched the younger races, guiding from afar, intervening only when absolutely necessary. But these humans, they have achieved in centuries what takes most species millennia." Elder Zorax, his ancient bark-like skin creaking as he moved, replied, "Perhaps it is time for us to emerge from our seclusion. These humans could be the catalyst that ushers in a new age of cooperation and advancement for all species." Meanwhile, in the Silicon Valleys of Mektron, the machine intelligence that governed the synthetic beings known as the Quantum Collective reached a consensus. In a rare display of emotion, the Central Intelligence Core pulsed with an electric blue glow. The emergence of humanity presents an unprecedented opportunity for data acquisition and analysis, the collective intoned in its emotionless voice. Their capacity for illogical yet effective problem-solving could provide invaluable insights into the nature of consciousness itself. As the various powers of the galaxy grappled with the implications of humanity's reveal, back on Earth, the work of building a new future continued apace. In a secure facility beneath the Himalayas, Dr. Marcus Reeves and Dr. Aisha Patel stood before a holographic display of the Milky Way. Countless points of light represented known civilizations, with Earth now shining brightly at the center. "It's still hard to believe," Patel mused, her eyes scanning the vast expanse of the galactic map. "After all these years of preparation, we're finally here. We're part of something so much bigger than ourselves." Reeves nodded, stroking his beard thoughtfully. "Indeed, but we must tread carefully. Our victory over the Zarkonians was decisive, but we can't afford to become complacent. There are older, more established powers out there that might see us as a threat." As if on cue, a notification chimed, indicating an incoming transmission. General Chen's hologram materialized beside them, her expression a mixture of excitement and concern. "Doctors, we've just received a communique from a species calling themselves the Ilari. They're requesting a diplomatic meeting, and they claim to have been watching Earth for thousands of years." Patel and Reeves exchanged glances, the implications of this revelation sinking in. "It seems," Reeves said slowly, "that our emergence has stirred the interest of some very ancient players." Chen nodded gravely. "Indeed, and they're not the only ones. We're being inundated with requests for meetings, trade negotiations, and, well, some messages that our xenolinguists are still trying to decipher." "So what's our next move?" Patil asked, her mind already racing with possibilities. Chen's hologram smiled, a hint of the adventurous spirit that had driven humanity to the stars shining in her eyes. "We do what humans have always done best. We adapt, we learn, and we push forward into the unknown. But this time, we do it on a galactic scale." As the three of them began to discuss strategies for navigating this new cosmic landscape outside the facility, the night sky blazed with stars. But now, those pinpricks of light held new meaning. They were no longer just distant suns, but beacons of possibility, each one potentially home to civilizations waiting to be discovered, challenges to be overcome, and wonders to be explored. In orbit above Earth, the massive form of humanity's hope hung silently against the backdrop of space. Once a hidden testament to human ingenuity and preparedness, it now stood as a symbol of Earth's new role in the galaxy. Its powerful sensors swept the cosmos, ever vigilant for threats, but also eager to detect signs of new friends and allies. On the ship's observation deck, Admiral Venkar stood alone, gazing down at the blue marble that had so thoroughly upended his understanding of the universe. His silver eyes reflected the city lights glittering across the planet's surface, each one a reminder of the incredible journey that lay ahead, not just for humanity, but for all sentient life in the galaxy. As Earth rotated slowly beneath him, Venkar couldn't help but feel a sense of optimism. The humans had shocked the galaxy with their sudden reveal, yes, but they had also opened doors to possibilities that few had dared to imagine. In their ingenuity, their adaptability, and their unquenchable thirst for knowledge, Venkar saw the potential for a new era of galactic cooperation and advancement. The battle was over, the shock of revelation had passed, and now the real work began. As humanity took its first steps into a wider galactic community, the stars themselves seemed to burn a little brighter, as if in anticipation of the great adventures and discoveries that lay ahead. The galaxy would never be the same again, and for the first time in millennia, the future was truly uncertain, and all the more exciting for it.